Ava scanned the crowded living room, releasing a soft sigh as she twirled her candy cane in her rum and coke. Her eyes flitted from the half-drunk guy in the corner of the room, who was vying for the attention of a woman who looked as bored as she was, to a woman dressed in a seductive elf costume, as if it were Halloween, before landing on her friend. Ellie looked up, and Ava raised her brows. 10 more minutes, Ellie mouthed, barely able to look away from the tall guy she was hugged up with. Ava sighed and plastered a fake smile on her face. For the 10th time in the past hour and a half, she wondered why she'd let Ellie drag her to this party. On the occasions that she returned home, she preferred to spend them hanging out with her mom. Ava didn't get to see her nearly as often as she would have liked. But instead of hanging with her mom, watching bad Christmas movies on Lifetime, and drinking too much rum and coke, she was out at this soul-sucking party with her best friend from high school. She didn't even remember half of these people, and didn't want to. High school, the entire town, was a dead-end waste of space. As soon as Ava graduated, she'd left. She didn't even wait out the summer before heading to college. The longer she sat on the plush, oversized couch that seemed to be made for sleeping, not entertaining, the more convinced she was that the life was literally being zapped out of her. She pulled out her phone and glanced at it. She'd give Ellie 5 more minutes, and then she was kicking rocks. She clicked on her Kindle app and started reading. You know, reading at a party is pretty rude. Excuse me? Ava lifted her eyes from her phone, her brow furrowed at the owner of the deep baritone who'd interrupted her just as she was getting to the good part. Her gaze settled on a tall figure hovering over her. Reading at a party. It's rude. But then you were stuck up in high school, so I'm not surprised. Ava's mouth parted slightly. Excuse me? Who the heck did this guy think he was? She craned her neck looking up at him, trying to make out his admittedly handsome features. His skin was the color of dark roast coffee, just before the cream, and his eyes were aware but lively with playful intrigue. His beard was groomed but still managed to give him a rugged edge, and he was wearing a dark blue sweater that stretched snugly across his chest. She was drawing a blank, though she didn't know how that was possible. If this dude had gone to school with her, there was no way she would have forgotten him. He was still smiling cockily at her, and she frowned. Fine or not, he was an asshole. I was not stuck up, she muttered, internally kicking herself for not thinking of a better comeback. Yes, you were, he refuted, still grinning when she frowned. You used to walk the hallways with your nose so far up in the air, it's a wonder it didn't get stuck there. He seated himself next to her on the plush couch, stretching his long legs out comfortably and crossing his booted feet at the ankles. What are you reading? It must be damn enthralling. Ava stared at him, shocked by his audacity. Excuse me? You already said that, Ava. Twice. He flashed another overly confident grin her way, and she tilted her head, glaring at him. The way he said her name was familiar, as if he'd been saying it forever, and it was doing weird things to her stomach. He was still peering nosily at her phone. She snatched it from his gaze, and his lips curled up, revealing a smile that typically worked to leave women dumb and pantyless. But she wasn't typical. Or dumb. I'll bet it's some feminist shit, huh? Roxane Gay? Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie? Bell Hooks? He arched a brow, patiently waiting for her to answer. First of all, you may think you know me, but I don't have any idea who you are and don't really care to. And I don't appreciate you inviting yourself into my personal space and then interrupting my reading just to insult me. Ava's voice raised slightly, and she sat forward, pointing a finger at his muscled chest.